Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to have a look at eSail, something I've missed on my channel, especially since I've been looking at marine simulators recently. This is an app which I've had for a while. As you can see, I've only got 6 hours on it in Steam, but it's for me pretty much the best app for learning how to sail. So I've recommended it to the people who sail with me every summer, that they go and use this. It's a great way to learn all of the details about sailing. So it might not be the best sailing game as such, although it's a pretty good game to play if you like sailing exploration and a kind of realistic mode, but it has by far the best mechanisms for you to learn how to sail properly. So we'll get it started. You'll see that the graphics and these kind of things are maybe not as amazing as some of the other applications out there, but again, this is a real training tool, or what I would describe as a training tool. So I've got a couple of users here. You've got loads of sailing lessons in here. So these are pretty detailed sailing lessons. They also, of course, teach you how to use the app, because you need to use this kind of icon systems to get your crew members to do things. You learn the basics of sailing, how to raise the sails, how to trim the sails, how to tack and jibe. Pretty much everything you would need to get the basics, even navigation and mooring. There's not many applications that teach you mooring or anchoring. So I've got a very good anchoring simulation. So basically the best application out there that there is to learn how to sail. I'm going to do something here where I basically start in a marina, and you'll see how realistic it is. I'm going to try and undock myself from this marina here. So you've probably got a little bit of music in the background. I'll just tone that down slightly. So as you can see, you pretty much do everything in the first person perspective here. The other thing you can see here is you've got 2 crew members, which is kind of representative of what most sailing will be like. You've got a few modes here. So this is sailing mode, I think. This is docking or mooring mode, anchoring mode. And these change basically the commands that you can give your crews here, right? You can drag and hold and get a kind of unrealistic view from outside. It's not like you're an avatar and you can jump off the boat and have a look, unfortunately, but you can have a look around like this. So as you can see here, this boat is tied up properly using a stern line, a fore line, and these spring lines, which basically stop you moving back and forward. They're very important and stop you sort of bouncing too much away from the side here. So I have to basically figure out how to get this out. I tried it before and I totally failed. I totally crashed. So just so you know, I maybe don't know how to use the sim properly. Yeah, what other features have we got here? You've got a radio here. You can tune this in, and you've got a volume and a squelch. Okay, these buttons only operate in live sailing mode. And I believe you can actually use the VHF to communicate with other players on their multiplayer servers, which is pretty cool. So you can sail with other boats. They're all identical boats, but you can sail together with other boats, not as crew together, unfortunately. So it's not very good to do multiplayer with crew. That's something that, as far as I know, you can only do in Marine vs. Cup today, which is the VR app for Oculus, which I've reviewed on the channel as well. So let's get started. Actually, what I wanted to do in this situation is to undo these fore and aft lines and keep the aft spring on, so I could motor against it, but it's not going to let me do that. So first things first, we start the engine. So you probably hear a very, very gentle brumming in the background. You don't need to warm it up or anything like that. Just so you know, that's autopilot. This puts you back in your sort of default view, and we'll just go out to that view there, which is going to help us undock. You use the keyboard. You can use controllers for this, so I'm going to use A and D, and you'll see the wheel turning here, left and right, and you actually see the rudder. That's unrealistic that the rudder goes all the way around like that, but it's maybe just good to have it accentuated like that. And spacebar brings it into the middle, so I'm going to already get that wheel set up for reversing out of here. We press this. Now this is the cool part. You'll see the crew then go actually on land, undo the line from the cleat in the center, undo it from that cleat here. So they actually do the real undoing. And now they've got the stern and the foreline. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. So you can get them to undo the lines and then come to the boat. Or you can get them to do, what's this one? You can create spring lines, or you can create slip lines. So in this case, we want to probably put it on slip. So basically they take a loop around that cleat, put it back on board, and then they can use this cleat to control how tight that rope is there. So basically what I typically do is, I'd increase the length of that. It's not letting me increase it. Why is that? Maybe I need to move forward. Let's see. There we go. So I need to, probably too much power. And then this one, I could probably just let go of it altogether. So what we're trying to do is get the aft to come out here. Then undo, rudder all the way to port. I seem to have lost control. So we've got a bit of wind, and you can see there the classic no steerage. So we can try to nudge it forward against the fenders like this, as long as we're not hitting the dock. It's a valid thing to do. Wheel all the way to left. So we've got prop walk, that's what's fighting us here. There we go, that's that. We've got wind, I guess, fighting us as well. So this is a real tricky situation. There we go. Try a little bit less power. There we go. So this is where you'd have your crew out with the fenders on the side, just protecting against that potential collision at the front. Normally, I think having the spring line on would have helped me there. So it's a bit funny controls. You've got the right mouse button will move around your boat, and the other one here will move around, basically move your head around. So I want to bring the front round now. And I haven't figured out which direction the prop walk is. I really don't like that view. In real life or in VR, it'd be much more easy, I think, to get an overview. So wheel all the way to the right. Again, we go back inside here. So the physics in terms of the rudder and the steering do react pretty well. I think pretty realistically, and that's the kind of slightly stressy situation you've got coming out of dock. Basically, boats don't steer very well backwards. If they've got prop walk, you basically will have wheel turned one way and the boat will be going another way. It's very confusing for people who are new to operating sailing boats especially. Now, the cool part starts. So we're going to get out the harbour. Forgive me for going over 5 knots here, which is the usual speed limit in the harbour. Just going to get her out until we can start sailing. So you can see here you've got navigational aids as well. 6 knots. You've got accurate depth as well, so 10 meters here, and you can actually see the keel under the water. Got some nice wake effects, and you've got obviously a dynamic weather here as well. You can actually click inside and see your chart table, There's kind of a cheat here where you can basically have it like a GPS, so you can see we're coming out of this harbour. And this is a very nice little map where you can navigate and anchor and go to different towns and ports. As you can see here, it's more than enough that you need. You've got control of your lighting there as well, and you can do proper navigational things with this. You can take that on. I can't even remember how to do this, to be honest. Everybody's using GPS these days, for better or worse. So you can see we're out here, and this is wind speed. So we've got wind speed and 10 knots, which is nice for sailing. So typically when you come out the harbour, so the waves are probably a bit bigger than I would expect in a real life. Let's get back on the default view. It would basically get the crew to get the lines ready. So what you do is you can click on these winches, and these will tell the crew what things to do. So what we're going to do is on this winch, you have to set up which line to use. So let's do the main halyard. And then you have to tell the crew member how you want to attach it to the winch. So we're going to raise it. So let's go full wrapped around through the self-tailing part and with a winch. What you could do is probably put it on like that. And then of course we bring it into wind. So we've got traffic here. I'm going to keep her with a wind on the nose like that. We put autopilot on here, and you'll see that you can pull the sail up just wrapped around the winch, as you do in real life. Let's just see. So I'm pulling down here, and you can see the mainsail's going up. At some point, it will just reach a point where you can't pull it anymore by hand, again like real life. All right, okay, 100%. So normally in a larger boat, you'd need to put it around there. So what we do now is mainsail is up. So you need to, okay, all of these jammers are closed by default. So then we could just change this to the main sheet. So you take that line off, the crew imaginary, like put it down somewhere safe. Let's just have a look at our sail. So check that it's up. It's all the way up. In real life, you'd have to do things like adjust the downhaul. You'd probably have a kicker. We do have a kicker here, so we'll do that later. But basically, you can get the crew to put the main sheet on, and you can say, all right, wrap it around the winch and put it through the self-tailing so it's locked. In main sheet, we would usually have this jammer open so that we can adjust it. So now this main sheet can be adjusted. When it's not in the jammed position like that, so when it's just wrapped around the winch, as you can see here, we can adjust it. And if I come off the wind, so if I take autopilot off, let's get a bit of an angle on the wind, you'll see that we're sailing now, and you can adjust this sail. So you can release, and you'll be able to pull it in depending on the wind speed to a certain amount, and then at a certain point you'll need to put the winch handle on. Thought I'd click that. Right, I'm just going to come away from the wind again. We'll pull that in nice and tight. I can't remember really how to, yeah, let's just put it on the jam, and then the hands become free for other things. Now we're going to pull out the jib. So let's get her into wind again. We need to, of course, navigate, make sure we're not going to hit anything. So I'm using this 13 knots right on the wind. So to put out our foresail, I don't know if it's jib Genoa, we probably need to put on jib furling line around the winch. So this crew member goes there. We're going to have to go on another tack. So they're just going to wrap it around like that, or is there a level before that? And then we open furling line jammer, which is important, and they can release this. And of course the only way we can do that is by pulling on the other side. So starboard jib sheet. And this person can already start to pull out. So I'm going to come off the wind on the starboard tack. Just enough that this should now work. So you can see the other side is releasing slowly. And not too sure why that's going on like that. Okay, this person here needs a winch. Let's just take that off then. Maybe that's the way to do it. Normally I'd control that through there. Yeah. No. So as a typical kind of problems. No, our sheet is free there. Let's just get this person on the main sheet. So jib is not unfurling. So these are the kind of problems you have in real sailing when you're not used to a boat, and that's why, you know, this kind of practice is really important. So this person needs to reduce, not haul in. I need to reduce this. I can't reduce that. Furling line jammer. It's not jammed. I can pull in. Release. This person pulls in. Release. No. Let's just go full winch here. See if it's a matter of being able to winch it out. Alright, so it's going red there. There's lots of tension on it. But it is coming out. That's not the way I would have done it. %. Then you have to take the handle off to ease that sail. So engine off. And you get this nice part of sailing now. We'll get this person back on the main sheet. And that, let's put the port jib sheet on the winch so we're ready to tack. Right, it's not super realistic from what I expect from real sailing. You should be able to just pull out this jib. Is it still rolled at all? Or like visually it looks like it's still rolled up. I'm not too sure why that is. But as you can, oh, excuse me, it's windowed. As you can see, it's a very realistic sailing simulation in that you need to think about all of these things. I'm going to give this another shot just to see if we can get our sailing properly. So on this side, jib furling, and we've got an asymmetric as well. Sailing mode. What does that do? I wish there was a way to sort of stand down your crew because they don't need to be holding these lines all the time. We'll do a tack just to give you a good example of this. So when we do into the tack, we're going to have this person on the main. You can see here. I can already bring that in. The main needs to be brought in as well. So the jib is flapping. I'll bring it in a bit more. Bring it in till it stops flapping. And you'll see there's actually telltales on these sails as well. So you can see there, almost got that sailing properly. Probably bring it in a little bit more. That's reasonable. And on the main, I believe you've got a telltale as well on the end. So these should be streaming out. Let's bring this in a bit more. Oops. So this person needs to be on a winch. You can see here we're getting close to the shore. All right, I'm just struggling with the controls here. Sorry for looking around. All right, it's a bit better. Now let's just do tacks. So ready about, wheel over, and then just struggle a bit with the control. So this person needs to release. This person needs to come over here, and I would say just do that in the beginning. So that is released, but the hands are still there, which is not completely true. All right, so I've not come through the wind. That's losing concentration. There we go. Nope. So we've backed, just like real life. We're now got a bit of a problem. So this gets released. This one gets pulled in. No, she's going to go on the other way now. So we release this one. And we put this a couple of turns around the winch. In real life, this kind of stuff is a bit quicker. It's possible to do this stuff a little bit quicker because you could just use voice commands and say, please, when your crew knows what they're doing, get ready to tack, and they know what to do. So we're really stuck in what you call irons here. So what I'm going to do is let back the jib, which is a technique to help the boat get onto the right tack. The other problem is their main is not. So this is a real sailing jeopardy here. So let's just bring this in close hauled. Wheel in the middle. Tighten this jib as much as possible. Needs to go around the winch. We'll get her sailing. It's most important to have speed so you can do stuff. Right, now I'm going to do the tack. So I want somebody on here. And I do ready about, turn the wheel across. This person can release. This person pulls in. And then, just like real life, that last little bit, they need to get the winch handle. And we bring it in. And so I'll get back on our course. So there we go, so upwind course. We probably want to tie this up. So yeah, that's eSail Simulator. You can see it's very good sailing simulator. You need to think about all the different things people should be doing. It's very good if you're a skipper as well, but it will help you understand how to sail big boats where you're not just adjusting the sails. So like Marine versus Cup, you just need to pull the sails in and out basically. But on a big boat, you need to think about what you're doing with the winches. So you need to know, am I just wrapping it a couple of times around this winch and pulling it? Or am I just pulling it without the winch? Or am I wrapping it a couple of times around and then going to this winch mode? So you can see here what each one of these does. So this is self-tailing, which is using it to jam the line you see here. And then when you put the winch handle on, you can get more power. If it's wrapped around the winch, you can pull and release it in a controlled way. And when you take it completely off, then you can put another line on it. And each winch, of course, you've got the possibility to put different lines on it. The same with these winches. So you'll see here you can raise and lower sails. You can reef. So let's do a reef. So to do a reef, we're going to put on this side the halyard. Halyard, and we're going to make sure that it's not jammed. Ah, shit. The halyard has to be around the winch, so it's controlled, and then you would unjam it. What we'd normally do if you do reefing is we'll just get her into wind. You'd normally roll up your jib probably, but let's just show you how good the reefing is here. So again, I'll use autopilot like I probably would in real life. So the halyard can go down here, but we now need on this side to put the first reefing line on. Reefing line 1. And then we're going to put it on the winch. So this person releases and this person pulls in. It was much quicker and easier than in real life. So this person is basically pulling down the sail, and there's usually a line at the back and a line through the front that hold it down against the boom. It's got a lazy bag jack here. As you can see here, we've got less sail area on the front. It looks like a reef too, to be honest. Then what we would do is we'd jam that reefing line 1. They're all jammed because they've got this one-way things. And then on here, you would probably just pull up as much as you can. So that's fine. Reefing line 1 is preventing it from going up, so it's nice and tight. You would put then make sure the halyard is jammed, and then you can take the line off this. So let's put the main sheet back on. Gonna come off the wind again. Turn the engine off. And on this main sheet here, we probably always want it around the winch at least twice. We can pull this right in. And yes, you're right, this needs to be released and this needs to be pulled in. So you see we had a little problem here. Every little thing counts in this app. So I didn't put this through the self-tailing mechanism. So I need to go back here. Pull this in. In fact, you can even pull it and put it through the self-tailing mechanism, the locking mechanism, essentially. This doesn't let me. That's annoying. Okay, you can winch it. That's true. And you bring this in. And then put it on this to lock it. Main sheet done. Jib. Hold that in a bit more for this upwind course. Put this on winch. And then you can get the last bit of adjustment on that until it's flying nicely and our tails are working. So there you go. We've reefed and we're now, let me just try and get the view right here. Not too sure what's going on with the view. Slightly weird view controls. I think that's my only criticism of this app, but otherwise it's very good. Everything you need to know to learn how to sail. There's excellent mooring tutorials and physics. There's excellent anchoring physics as well, and you can just use this as a way to sail around into harbours and stuff like you can see around here, and have just a nice kind of sailing time. So we're going to do one more tack with the reef in. So to tack, I need to get my hands on this side, wrapped around the winch a couple of times. Main sheet doesn't need to do anything. And then I say ready about. turn the helm over. This person releases. And this person pulls in. As usual, it went way too far through the tack. And then you'd probably get the winch on for the last little bit of it. Get some speed up. 2 knots. I can hear a boat approaching. And I'm on the sail, so they need to avoid me. Wow, there you go, right behind us. Yeah, so that's eSail Sailing Simulator. There's a lot more to it than this. You can see we've got coordinates up there. We can pause. We can see a little map to cheat and see where we are a little bit. We can do loads of kind of challenges and checkpoints. We've even got auto sail here. So you'll see with the auto sail, you're basically then the skipper and your crew is doing everything for you. So it's interesting to see what the crew do. So the crew are adjusting the sails, probably tightening this up a bit. No, it's flapping. I've got the winch, it should be tightening it up. Yeah, so then the boat's pulling, and then if I do a tack, they will do this automatically here. So auto sailing is quite a nice relaxed way to do it. It's not how you learn, so release the jib, and then on the other side we're winching in, and I've come through the get my speed up a bit, come back on the wind. 2 knots. Probably need our and then the main is being released there, as you can see. And if I turn more into the wind, that main will get tightened, the winch handle's going on it. That's it, crew. So you could, yeah. There you go. Horrible maritime mistake here. Auto sail, let's take this off. I have done a criminal thing. So we go back in there, we take our fenders in. Oh no, I've done. So something that's really good about this is the fact that the crew members actually have to go into the locker here and take the fenders out. So it simulates the time it takes the crew to do things as well. So you can see here now the crew are not sailing. Normally the third crew member, the person on the helm, would adjust this. We've got a bit of a problem here because my crew are busy doing fenders, right? What I can do is I can tack to avoid hitting the rocks at all costs. In reality, you'd say stop doing the fenders, right? Remove fenders. So we'll only do one side at a time, unfortunately. And we're not sailing well because the crew are busy. So these kind of things, it's hard to really simulate what you do in this situation. You would obviously say leave the fenders and attend to the sails. In this particular case, you wouldn't have your fenders out in the first place. This is one of the reasons why I take them in. It's just good seaman-like behavior. And I'm just going to click on auto sail, sailing mode. So you see it won't let me go into sailing mode. There we go. Because the crew are doing something. So let's just get them to adjust the sails for me so we can sail again. We're actually failing to get out of this this harbour at all because of the wind direction. Right, so we are moving. Auto sail off. Gonna have the same problem. Remove port fenders. So this is why you get your crew to do all of this kind of stuff. As soon as you're at the harbour or away from risk of hitting other vessels and hard things, get your fenders in, because I recently left one out and it fell off inevitably, so that's why you take them in. Plus it just looks bad. And then when these guys are done, they'll close the lockers one more. It's a shame I can't control those hands and have them steering things, but that's just some of the limitations of it. So this person's coming back. And then straight onto sailing, auto sail, and then I can do my tack. So I'm a little bit close on the wind, 3 knots, ready about. And there we go. So yeah, you can have a nice persistent sailing mode, which is what I like. It's basically, it saves the game wherever you are, and you have to kind of actually cruise the boat out as if you would in real life into one of these harbours. I'm still tacking out of this bay, which is very realistic. We came from, I think it was here, southwest of the bay, and we're still up here just tacking our way out. That's quite realistic. That's all from me. That is eSailor. It's available on Steam, and I think you can get it from Mac as well. A friend of mine's got a Mac. If you go to their website, you'll see it. It's the best thing to use to learn how to sail properly in big boats with winches, how to anchor, how to dock. Of course, the app itself needs some time to learn it. You need to learn how to control the slightly strange camera angles and how to control these people that only do one thing at a time. But that's fine. It's still the best tool I think you could use to learn how to sail. And as you can see here, it's got pretty nice physics. Graphics are nothing special, but that's not what it's about. It's really about learning how to sail. The physics and the simulation of all these ropes and lines on the sailing boat is excellent. So we'll do another tack here, and I'll say adios to you. Look forward to your comments, and if you're a sailor or want to learn how to sail, this is the simulation for you. Cheers for now. Bye bye.